Have you ever wondered how you can make a normal plain mould like this and turn it into a mould that looks much different and adds value to it? As you know, if you've been watching my videos, I make a lot of these out of really these little pot moulds, pencil moulds, plant pot moulds, and sell them at craft fairs and different places like that. I always put my own cutting in them, but I want something a little bit different. So I've got these two square moulds and I'm going to make moulds out of these, but I'm going to add some embellishments on them before I make the moulds. Now, I've done a lot of mould making in the past, and I've got lots of videos on this channel and the other channel about how to make mould. I found that resin crate makes brilliant blanks for making moulds with, and it's lovely and hard. It paints easily and it seals easily. And now I've also discovered the easiest way to measure it out is fill your blank with water. So for instance, put your blank on first, tear it, so you've got 0 showing there if it's showing up. So fill that up to about just under 1/4 of an inch or a centimetre, just under a centimetre from the top, and measure that. So that's about 55 grams. Now I know that we need to have 100 grams of resincrete to about 30 to 35 grams of water. So I'm going to need 175 grams of resincrete powder to fill that mould. Hopefully that'll also give me a little bit left over. And now I'm going to fill this mould up a little bit, give it a bit of a tap, and then fill it right up to the top. So there we go, that's filled right up now. I want it a little bit full, and it's given me a little bit left over. And what I'm going to do with the leftover stuff is pour into these shapes. This is what I'm going to use to embellish the actual pots with. And we'll leave those for 30 minutes to cure. And I'll show you how to attach these to your pots to make sure that you get the best attachment, and then also how to make your moulds with it. The moulds that I make from this, I will probably make some out of resin crate and some out of resin, because the ones out of resin crate I shall sell as a kit to paint your own plant pots, and the ones out of resin I will put the little plants in. Well, these have all been curing for about an hour actually, because I left them and went off and did something else. So they should be really nice and solid. And this is quite a tight mould, but it shouldn't make a problem. It should still come out in one piece. Yep, there we go. And that's what I love about the resincrete as well. You don't get hardly any blemishes on it, and you get a really nice clean casting. I'll do that one in a second. These are quite deep and quite delicate, so I want to take these out very gently. Yeah, they've cast lovely. Look, even those little tiny ones with all that detail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast a few more of these, so I've got quite a few to choose from. And then I'm going to show you the best way to stick this to your pots, ready for casting it in silicone. I'm going to do one of the pots with the seashells and one of the pots with the flowers. But before I do anything or attempt to glue these on, what I need to do is just rough up the back of this to ensure that that sticks on. And all I'm doing is running a blade across it and then cross hatching it. See that now has got some scratches on it, and that'll make a big difference being able to stick it to the pot and it having a much better stick. So I'm going to carry on. I'll finish all these off and then I'll show you what I'm going to use to attach these to it and how to get the best finish so that you don't have gaps or anything like that which could cause problems with your silicone. So I've got all the bits scratched on the back, and now it's just a case of making a decision on where I want to put them. So I'm going to put them on here like this, and wherever I'm going to put them, I'm also going to scratch into the pot. Get rid of the dust, so I know that that one's going to go there. And all I'm using for this is some white glue, covering that on really well over the whole back, and then pushing it down quite firmly onto there. And then if there's any bits that have come up from anywhere, then all I'm doing is going round with a little edge of a toothpick and cleaning them off. But so far, there hasn't been any come out. And then carry on covering the whole pot with what I want to cover, both pots, and then leave them to dry overnight. It's really important to leave them to dry overnight for this stage. And then tomorrow I'll show you how I'm going to cast these in silicone, and I'm going to be using a new silicone as well. Well, these have all dried now, lovely, and they're not going to go anywhere. But what I need to do is seal this, and because I want it to have a glossy finish, I'm going to seal it with a gloss varnish. Remember though, you must seal inside as well, because you're going to be pouring silicone in there as well. And I've got a little trick to show you how to save yourself a lot of silicone and prevent yourself having a big solid block of silicone in there. So all I'm using is a normal acrylic varnish, and I'm going to go over it 3 times. Now, I don't mind if it gives the brush strokes on here at all, because I think actually a little bit of texture on here really could help it and make it look great. But I do want my brush strokes to all go in the same direction, so downwards, up and down like that. And make sure that you cover everywhere, including the base. That's why I give it 3 coats, to ensure that I have covered everywhere. These are all ready to be cast now, and they're lovely and shiny. I did do 3 coats on them because I thought that is really important to do. I've made my casting boxes. Now, if you want to know how to do these, I'll link the video at the end. I won't repeat it all in here. But what I have made is these little boxes that will fit in here and give me a little gap at the bottom and gaps around the outside, and that way I won't use loads of silicone filling that up, and it will cast lovely. It'll be much easier to demold as well. So when I put these in, I want to stick them down to the bottom of these boxes, and all I'm using on those is some quite good quality double-sided dicky tape. Now, I use this one a lot, and I will definitely link it in the description because it is really good and it does a great job. And I just delicately cut that down to size using a sharp blade. Obviously, you need to have quite a sharp blade. And then that little gap there, all I do is I fill that in with a little bit there. Not as wide, but it's still as good a quality. And now I can take that tape off. Because we've varnished the bottom of these as well, that tape will stick on there really well. And now we need to put this in here, but making sure we've got enough space all the way around each bit for it to make the mould. And now I'm pushing that down and pushing it down in the middle, but don't break it. Obviously, you need to push that down without breaking it. And then that will just fit in there like that. There'll be a gap at the bottom, which there is, and you need to make sure that you've got enough room around that as well to make all your sides, which I do have. And now I don't want that moving at all, so I'm going to tape this onto the side of the box as well, because if not, I know what I'm like. I will knock it and not notice, and then what'll happen is that'll move, and I'll have one side that has got no silicone on it. I've also put a line in the boxes because then I know how far to fill the actual boxes up with the silicone. And I've got one in that box as well. Now I'm going to be trying out the new J. Diction silicone mould making product. It apparently dries completely translucent clear. It's bubble free, super soft and ultra elastic. And if it does live up to those, then I'm going to be really happy. The other thing is it cures within 6 hours, which is great as well. Always wear safety precautions, gloves and PPE whenever you're pouring anything like this. I will link this in the description below as well, so don't worry if you want to get hold of it. Thank you to everyone that got me a coffee last month. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. It's the love and the outpouring and the support that really allows me to carry on doing what I do and live my dream, really. Thank you very much. And here's the names to everyone that got me a coffee. So this is done by equal parts weight. So I'm measuring out here 200 grams of part A, 203 grams of part A. Well, actually, 204 grams of part A. And now I'm measuring out another 204 grams of the part B. I've always found with silicone that you do need to give it a good mix, and make sure that you give it a slow mix so you're not adding in any more bubbles, and that you're constantly scraping the sides and the stick as well, because that way you're not going to get any bits in there that aren't cured. We've got it all mixed now, and all I need to do is start pouring it in. And when I pour it in something like this, what I do is I pour some in each side of the inside first, and that's to ensure that we get a nice covering on that base. Give it a bit of a shake. And now I'm just putting my stick down to make sure that I've got enough gap on all the sides to ensure that I get a nice finish to this mould, just in case anything's moved, and that should be fine. And now all I need to do is pour slowly into these boxes until I'm completely up to the line. Yeah, I'm up to the line now, and that'll start to release its bubbles, and as it releases its bubbles, it will start to cure. Let's just finish this one, and then we'll come back to them once they're lovely and cured, and I'm ready to demold them. Well, they're all filled up now and ready to go and cure, and they are releasing their bubbles, as you can see here. But I've just realised I made a huge mistake. I forgot to spray any mould release on the pots or on the card. So I'm hoping that isn't going to cause me too much of a problem when I come to demold these. Fingers crossed. Well, I got a little bit carried away, and I demolded this one before I turned my camera on, because I still get just as excited over demolding now as I did my very first mould. So I'm going to quickly show you how I demold. All I do is I split down the corners, and that allows me to peel them back. Now, I probably will use this little box again, just tape it up again if it comes out all nice and neat, which it looks like it has done. Doesn't look like not using any mould release has affected it, which is great so far. Yeah, that's lovely and cured. So let's see if we can get this bottom off. Yep, and as you can see, look, we've got a little bit of underpour here. All I'm going to do is run my knife around it at this stage to get rid of that. Then I should be able to take that off, and that'll have cleaned that up. I find it easier to do the underpour at this stage, where it's gone under, than I do once I've demolded it. And now I'm going to demold it, but I'm not going to take out the centre bit as yet. It is a really good silicone. It's lovely and malleable. And now I want to release this slowly. Oh yeah, lovely and cured. What I'm going to do now is fill these up with some resin-crete and see how they come out. I will keep these blanks somewhere safe, because if these sell and I start to be really popular as self-painting ones, then once these moulds have had it, because moulds don't last forever, then I can just recast them using these blanks. Well, these have all cured now, and they should come out here nice and easy. But be delicate with it at this stage, because it really does need 24 hours to get fully cured. But look at that. Oh, that has come out brilliantly. That's come out so well. I'm so pleased with it. It's an exact replica of the one I made as the blank. So I'm very pleased with that one. Let's have a look at the seashell one. Resin-crete always gives such a brilliant finish. That is why I like it. It's much better than any other casting powder that I know out there. And again, that is a superb facsimile of this. Well, I hope you found this really useful. Just goes to show how easy it is to transform just a plain, simple mould into something that looks great. Please boot that like button if you've enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what you think, what you do with your moulds. Be sure to check out this. It is superb, and it is clear transparent, I would say. So it will be good if it's thinner for UV resin. Hit that subscribe button. Check out all the links in the description below. Take care. Enjoy your resin. Bye.